Good morning, traders. How's it going? Good morning, good morning. Happy Monday. Let me double check financial juice, make sure nothing new got announced. Yep, no news today. Just some Fed speakers and different stuff like that going on. And then not listed on financial juice, but apparently the government shutdown is supposed to be over. So I don't know if that means it's happening today or if that means they're like finalizing paperwork and it'll take a couple days. I have no idea what that means. But I'm guessing that's what the overnight action up has been. So we gapped up and then it's just been up only all night pretty much. So not loving the idea of taking shorts unless we start to get below a bunch of this resistance or a bunch of these levels, but I'm kind of leaning towards pullbacks to go long unless we move up to this 640 area right at the open and we start to reject pretty heavy. If you look at the higher time frame, this is the 4 hour. I have a high volume node here. So if it comes up to like 25, 650-ish, maybe 630-ish, comes up to there and rejects, we could be looking for shorts. But otherwise, I would say a pullback long, possibly. This spot right here would actually be a nice long, in my opinion. It's right at VWAP, and that would be a good London low liquidity grab. So if we come down there, that would be nice. This right here is the overnight volume profile. Kind of created a high volume node here. So if we reject here, I could see some downside at the open. Or if we just move up at the open, this could end up being some new support. I'm kind of thinking, though, that the news is going to make us go up just because the New York session hasn't really had a chance to trade the government shutdown being over yet. So I'm going to stay patient, see what we get. How was everyone's weekend? What'd you guys do this weekend? Anything fun? For me, it was our last weekend of soccer games with the kids. So that means soccer practice, soccer games, all that's over. That's kind of been the chaos of our schedule the last several months. So now I'm like looking at my calendar for this week. I'm like, what are we going to do after school? We actually have time to like hang out at home and stuff. I'm actually looking forward to it because the weather's been really nice. So just going to hang out with the kids outside after their homework, maybe play some catch, play some basketball. Not having anything on the calendar is actually nice every once in a while. Got your first snowfall. Man, we were still sweating in the 80s, 80-degree weather at our soccer games on Saturday. We have a cold front coming through, though. This morning it was like 46 degrees when I dropped the kids off for school. That's pretty cold for the Houston area. Do I teach my kids trading? I have not. They know the basics. Like they know when I put on the short and long tool like this, like these right here. They know that if it goes into the green, it's good. If it goes into the red, it's bad. But I haven't really taught them trading yet. They're definitely interested in it. They always like to watch and they come cheer me on. So I could definitely teach them some basics, like how to find support and resistance and that kind of stuff. That'd be fun. I should do that. All right, market's open in 2 minutes. I'm curious to see what we get, if we're just gonna like pump to the moon because of the news, or if we're actually gonna get a pullback from all that move up overnight. What do you guys think? What's your vote? To the moon at the open? Continuation of this bullish move? Or are we actually gonna get a little pullback? I could see either one happening, honestly. I don't know. This gray shaded area right here is actually a level that I had marked off when I shared in Discord last night. It's always interesting to me when a level that I've seen from the higher time frame plays out, because that's been the exact range since 3:20 Central Time this morning. So for the last 5 hours, that's been the range we've been in. It's kind of interesting to see. Stockfather, you think this is a teaser and we're just gonna dump, huh? That'd be nice. We have a long way down if we're gonna end up going back to fill the gap or anything like that. Market's open. Getting a little move up so far. Actually, kind of just up and down. Let's see what the 1 minute looks like. Are we going to reject at that London high, or are we just going to keep moving up? Looking pretty strong, actually. This looks like it might continue up a little bit more. Maybe go up to that 650-ish level I was talking about. Yeah, it broke above that London high. It doesn't look like it's rejecting yet. So I could see it continuing for sure. As of now, it is holding above that high volume node that we created overnight. So that could be support if we're going to continue higher. I could see it happening. I don't like taking a long all the way up here. The risk to reward isn't great because there's so much downside if we end up dropping. So for me, I'm going to stay patient, see what happens at this level up here around 650-ish, and then wait for the 15-minute opening range to be set. ES is still hovering a little bit at that London high, not breaking above. It is rejecting it. So that's interesting. Good morning, Grumpy. Do you have your coffee yet this morning? Based on your comment, your emoji, maybe you're drinking it right now. Bit of a slow open so far, it seems. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just used to last week's volatility was pretty crazy. We've already had a 70-point range, so that's decent. All right, getting some continuation. Let's see what happens at this 650 level. I like that level for just seeing what happens because it's a high volume node, would be kind of a fair value gap fill. There was some support there previously, could be resistance. So my thought is if we're getting a little bit of a, I don't want to say fake pump, but this is kind of just the news pump, and then we get a pullback from the overnight move up, that would be a better risk to reward. But again, I'm not going to jump into anything because this is definitely, the trend is up. Don't want to be going against the trend unless it makes sense to. Still grinding its way up. No trade yet for me at this point. Kind of what I'm thinking is if the slow grind up continues, watch for a reaction here if we're going to get a pullback. Or if the 15-minute opening range sets and we get a little pullback, maybe look for a continuation long. Because the trend is up. I would like to get along. We never really got a pullback. It kind of just moved straight up at the open, which I was half expecting because of the news, but I also didn't want to get caught in the volatility of the first 2 minutes of the open. I've learned my lesson the hard way with that, trying to chase that first candle or two and just kind of get flip-flopped. Because, it'll, like this one even, this first minute candle, if you watch the first 30 seconds, it looked like it was going down, and then all of a sudden it went up. So if I try to ride the momentum of the open, I always get screwed up. So I've learned my lesson to stay out of those. We got about 6 minutes until the 15-minute opening range is set. Anyone in the chat hop in on a long with that momentum? Probably could have trailed your stop into profit pretty quickly and made it a risk-free trade at this point. Nice. We got a couple people on it. Let's go. Oh, nice. Okay, this is one thing that I love about Lucid. Someone in the chat just said that they got funded on a 25K account with it. So with Lucid, you can buy an a test account today. You can pass it in 1 day. And then within 3 or 4 minutes, you can go to your dashboard and activate your funded account. And you can start trading your funded account today. How cool is that? I only know of one other prop firm that does that. That's a pretty cool feature. The only thing, though, for me at least, I'm speaking for myself, is if I trade an eval that aggressively, then I kind of have to take a step away from the computer and reset my mind because I don't want to trade my funded accounts that aggressively. So you kind of have to flip the switch in your brain to be like, all right, stop trading like a degen. Let's take it serious now. In Lucid, after you take your first payout, do they set your max loss to 0? No. You can keep your buffer. So, let's say, for me, I trade the 50K account. So those are the numbers that work in my head. I usually trade to 54K, even though you only have to trade to 2,100, I think. So I trade to $4,000 in profit, and then I take 1,500 out, which is the max payout. And that leaves me with a $2,500 buffer. So you keep your profits and you keep your buffer. They don't reset it. Is that what you were asking, Kimmer? What are my thoughts on the 25K account? I think it's a great option. I mean, it's a cheaper entry. So if you want to take less risk, it's a lower profit target. So it could seem a little bit less intimidating to actually hit the profit target and get a payout. I think it's a great account. I would say maybe a little more for beginners, like if you haven't gotten a payout yet, or maybe you've only gotten one and you're struggling with consistency. If that's you, I would recommend the 25K just because the numbers are smaller and the drawdown is smaller. So that would force you to size down, which I think over trading and sizing up is a lot of the times the problem for people when they're blowing accounts. So I think that's a good thing to kind of put the handcuffs on a little bit. But the only downside is the max payout is a little bit lower. I think it's 1,000 per account that you can take out. So if you're like a super consistent, profitable trader, that's not a huge amount. That's why I would probably recommend it more for beginners. But overall, yeah, I think it's a good low barrier to entry. Yeah, Kimmer, that's why I usually trade a little bit over the required amount because I want to give myself that buffer. So if I trade to 4K, like I said, I take 1,500 out, then I have 2,500, and then I do that again. So the next payout, I have like 3,000 as a buffer. It makes it so I can keep the accounts longer and not blow them. I like that. For Lucid, the payout, it can be weekly if you trade perfectly. It's 5 days. If you're doing the test account to pro, so the eval to funded stage, it is every 5 profitable days you can take a payout. So assuming you have 5 green days in a row, yes, you can take a payout every 5 days. All right, let me mark off the opening range since we have the 15 minutes set at this point. And now the question is, are we going to continue this slow grind up, or are we actually going to get a red candle? ES is at the top of a little resistance area that I have drawn up. But we're not really seeing any signs of selling pressure at this point. And for NQ, I have the resistance a little bit higher. So this could possibly be setting up for a fake 15-minute opening range breakout. Those are always good trades to watch for. So if it kind of peaks out of the range, it looks like it's going to break out, and then it quickly drops and closes back within the range, we could maybe target back down to these lows for the day. But again, not going to try to predict where the top is. Kind of looks like it's just going to be a slow grind up. Verisat, you in the chat? Better not try to short this thing. I know you're trying to. Oh, now that I say that, a red candle is coming. You're probably already trying to short this thing, aren't you? I feel like you love those scalps against the trend. Oh, I knew it. That's your trade right there. Grab a couple points against the trend. G-Man, what's up? Happy Monday. So it did have a tiny little breakout outside of the range. Sunday opening gap, will it drop down to fill it and then shoot up? That's a really long way down. I mean, that's possible, but that's a long way down. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I don't think it's super likely, just with how bullish it is and having it be based on news. I kind of feel like more negative news would have to come out for something like that to happen. But again, I could be wrong. Coming down to this New York anchored VWAP. All right, I'm in a short 619.75 based on the fact that it peaked outside of the range a little bit at my resistance level. I'm going to see if I can get back down to the bottom of the range. It's breaking through the New York anchored VWAP right now. Let's see if we actually get continuation. Right now it's holding above it. Where is the 50% mark on this range? 585. I'll take off one there at the 50% mark in case it starts bouncing back up. It's right at that 600 level. Might be trying to hold. All right, I'm moving to break even. I don't like that it's holding there and it won't continue down. All right, I'm out. This thing's looking strong. Yeah, Waffles, mine was weird on the 1 minute. I had to zoom out to the 2 minute because there were spaces. No, I did take a short here, but had my stop loss slightly in profit because it was holding and not continuing down. So I got out. I'm not in it anymore. Actually thinking about getting in a long because NQ is holding the New York anchored VWAP and ES is holding the support level that I have. All right, 619.8 is where I got in the long. Yeah, quite a move up from Friday's drop. So, zooming out, we do have some resistance here at 650. But really, this thing could go up to like 700. Coming up to the top of our opening range high. Let's see if we get some continuation up. Breaking outside the range again, so I'm going to move to break even at least. So 673 is the top of this high volume node that I have, so I'm going to scale out there and then see if we can get up to the previous week point of control at 708. Oh, come on. We're getting that no news Monday chop, huh? Is that what's going on? Or is the market just trying to process what happened overnight? Okay. That's how it's gonna be, huh? ES is sitting right at that anchored VWAP. I still feel like if this thing is gonna dump, there's a little bit more room up still. All right, Alex, have a good one. I've never heard that one before. Better get some ranch dressing. We're in for a chopped salad today. I feel like you have to say that with an accent. Go get your ranch dressing. I actually like a long on ES right now, just because the stop loss is a lot more clear to me. You can put it right below that VWAP. Still chopping around on both sides. Definitely seems like it's going up. It's just gonna take a while to do it. Have I thought about a video regarding taxes with prop firms? Ooh, I have not, honestly. I feel like that's one of those things where I would have to have so many disclaimers. I mean, it's already bad enough that I'm trading online and I have people copying me. So I have like all the, not financial advice disclaimers. But taxes, that's a whole different ballgame because I am not trained in that at all. I guess I can release something saying what I've done or what works for me. But the only reason I know much about it is because I have a background as a business owner. So I'm familiar with creating LLCs and tax write-offs and all that stuff. But no, I've never really thought about making a video for it. Really, a lot of my advice would be go hire a CPA. That's what I've always done. Like I do a lot of the bookkeeping myself and I set up the LLC myself and all that stuff. But when it comes down to the actual taxes, for me, hiring a CPA actually ends up saving me money because they find so many tax write-offs and different things that save me money than I found myself. So paying the $1,000 or whatever to have a CPA do it, and then I end up getting more than that in return, it's worth it for me. Choppy, choppy. Yeah, Chichamis, that's actually a really good point. Hire a CPA who is actually familiar with trading. Because I have a CPA that I've used for other businesses, and I asked him about trading, and he knew nothing about like the tax trader status and all that stuff that we can get tax benefits from. He didn't know anything about day trading. So find a CPA that actually knows about it. Because I was the one doing all the Googling and stuff, and then asked my CPA about all these things, and he's like, I don't know. So not all CPAs are the same. Yep, a prop firm is the same as self-employment income. That's why if you create an LLC, you can write off a lot of stuff. Like if you pay for any courses or any software, like monthly software, a portion of your office expenses, like all that stuff. Try doing a search online for CPAs. I don't feel like it has to be in person necessarily, because most of your stuff is probably digital. If you're, however, you're keeping your books, if it's on QuickBooks or Excel or whatever, that's an easy spreadsheet document that you could send anyone online. I don't think it needs to be in person. Here's that ES trade. I didn't realize my screen wasn't up. So at this point, just trailing my stop loss. I had 2 contracts. I took off one at this opening range high. And just gonna trail it, see what we get. Zooming out, what is our resistance looking like over here? We have a wick to the left at 68.43, or if we're looking at a fair value gap, we could go up to like 68.46. I don't know if we have that much volume to get us to move that high though. You guys, I traded the Asia session last night and it was more exciting than this. What in the world is happening? All right. We're just not going to get continuation anywhere today. That's how we're going to roll, huh? Now we're getting a dump. All right, let's see if we hold above this anchored VWAP or if we break below it. It's still holding. My idea could have been right. I just didn't want to give it that much room with my stop loss. I don't like the choppiness. Look at all those wicks on the top side. Could be setting up for a big drop down. Or it could just stay here and chop for hours. Who knows? All right, chat, what are you watching for in the middle of this mess? This is looking ugly to me. What do you think? Is this preparing for a big move down? Or is it consolidation for continuation higher? I'm kind of leaning towards consolidation higher. Wouldn't the wick suggest sellers trying to win in that candle? Yeah, it could. The only thing is it's on a lower time frame. This is a 5-minute time frame, so you can't, in my opinion, you can't really read into that much. And there's no continuation down, and the volume has dropped significantly. So if the sellers were really trying to actually take control, they would need to show up with larger conviction, I guess. It's not breaking below any key levels, so sellers aren't really acting strong yet. I'm not saying it can't happen, but they haven't shown up yet. All right, there we go. There it is. We're going to keep going. Nope. Yeah, I don't know what to think here, you guys. It's holding these VWAP levels, holding the support levels that I have, but it's just chopping, looking ugly. Are they still waiting on a deal, Grumpy? I haven't been following it super closely, but I thought I saw a headline that they have reached a deal and that the government would be opening back up. No? Carolina, good morning. How are you? Okay, so it's still a tentative deal. I guess they have to like finalize a vote or whatever. Well, that's a step in the right direction, I guess. Breaking outside of that opening range again on NQ. We have about 7 minutes until the initial balance is set. The market opened up strong the first 3 candles for like 15 minutes, and then it has just chopped since then. So we did have a decent opening range. I mean, 136 points isn't terrible, but it just stopped for the last hour. Coming up towards the high again. Let's see if we get an initial balance failed auction, possibly. So we still have 5 minutes until the range is set. But we could kind of chop around up here and reject this 670 level. Possibly. If we're going to see a pullback. Yeah, there's no confidence in the buyer's or seller's side. No confidence either way. $68.35. Yeah. And it keeps testing that level too. So at some point, something's going to happen. And the move will be strong. Because there's definitely some consolidation going here. Like there's some accumulation going on here is what I mean. This consolidation plus a news release, like if Trump tweets something about how they came up with a deal and the government's going to be opened back up, that would just be crazy. That would be explosive. I'm kind of wanting to get in along just because I feel like it is a consolidation to go higher, but it's also sitting right at the top of a resistance. So I'm resisting, but it's looking good. Both of them are sitting at the high of the day. What are we gonna do? Yeah, I agree, Verisat. It's definitely looking bullish. Just don't like the fact that there's not continuation, and volume is non-existent at this point. You can see it down at the bottom of the screen. There's just a massive decline. Wondering if we're gonna get anything. This is not very exciting. Bouncing off VWAP again. Are we gonna actually move higher this time? Come on, let's go. Maverick, you just got back and you see that you missed nothing. 100%. Yeah, it's definitely ping-ponging between levels. Not making any decisions. What is gold looking like? Is it moving better? At least gold looks like it has some movement. Chop, chop, chop. Still holding VWAP. Oh, man. Do I want to try a long? I just feel like the risk to reward is decent, even just to the top of the range, if it holds view up. No, I'd rather wait for a bigger pullback. Unless some momentum starts to make its way in, we get a little bit of volume. All right, Waffles, have a good one. See ya. You've never traded Asia because it's always slow? Yeah. Last night's Asia session was actually better than this. You like to hear how I talk to myself, staying disciplined? Are you talking to me? Did I say today that I'm talking to myself? Or is that on one of the videos that I put out? You're not wrong. I do talk to myself. I mean, I'm kind of talking to you guys in the chat, but mostly talking to myself. I've said it before. I'm in most of my videos, at least. I'm preaching to myself. I'm just letting you guys listen. Most of the content I put out is like some struggle that I've had or a lesson that I've kind of figured out or I'm working on. So the reason I have those tips is because I've been through it and I'm talking to myself. Are we actually going to get a move down? Or is this thing going to keep hovering up here? Do I trade the open of Asia? Only if it's moving. The Sunday night open is usually pretty good. I did trade it last night. But most of the time during the week, it's pretty slow. All right, we're coming back down to this level on ES that has been support. Let's see if we break below it. 68.25 is kind of what I'm watching. See if we get a close below it. And then let's see if NQ starts to break below this anchored VWAP. This is the range we've been stuck in all morning. Are we going to actually get out of it? I scold you for risking scalp trades. Scolding might be a little harsh. I'm also very aware of the fact that I'm not a scalper, so if it works for you, go for it. There's just times where I'm like, it's all green candles. Why are you shorting? I don't get it. Maybe those are the times you take as scolding. What are you doing? All right, we got a kind of a close below this level that's been support. Let's see if we actually get continuation. That's the whole trouble with today is we're like, okay, there's the move. Is it going to keep going? Or is it going to continue with the chop? I'm watching for a short. Like I said, it's closed below this support level. NQ is still holding above this anchored VWAP though, but is it going to come down? All right. I'm in a short 68.25.5. I got in on ES. It just looks better to me. Going to trail my stop loss aggressively though, because I don't like the chop today. See if we can get back to VWAP or the opening range low. Looking decent on ES. If NQ breaks below this anchored VWAP, I would feel better about it. Come on, NQ. Break below. Let's get both of you moving in the same direction. Putting my stop loss at break even at this point. So my first TP is at VWAP. Second one is at the 15-minute opening range low. And then I'll leave a runner just because this whole thing is like, I don't want to say overextended, because I don't believe in saying that like the market needs to pull back, but there's definitely room for it to come back down and retest. Again, the choppiness. This is going to come up and hit my stop loss. So annoying. Go down. What is NQ doing? NQ bounced back up above that anchored VWAP. Dang it. I'm not liking this. Not reading it super well today. Just lots of trailing stop losses hit for me. Come on down. Let's go. Well, while we're waiting for my fate to be decided, if you guys haven't already, hit that like button. We got 79 people watching, 41 likes. Let's do it. By the way, did you guys check out that interview with AJ from Lucid? What'd you guys think? If you have watched it, let me know what you thought. If you haven't, go check it out. I think it went pretty well. That was the first time I'd ever done an interview like that. And I mean, he's the CEO of a pretty big, well-known prop firm. So I was a little scared, but I think it went really well. All right, coming down towards the first target, which is at VWAP. Let me make sure VWAP hasn't moved too much. Yeah, it's at like 615 still. Oh, nice. Gonna listen to it this afternoon. Well, good. I'm glad some of you guys watched it and you liked it. It was pretty fun. Dang, there we go. All right, so that was VWAP. This is the initial balance low at 613.5. Let's see if it grabs that one. And then I'm going to leave a runner for a long way down. Because if this thing is going to come back and retest some of these levels, there's a long way down. That is the initial balance low for ES right there. Where is NQ on its IB low? Okay, there's a lot of room left for NQ to come down to its initial balance low, which makes me think that ES is going down further. We got London low at 67.96. I'm going to move this down further, and really I think I'm just going to take profit when NQ starts to bounce. Like if NQ comes down to this initial balance low and bounces, that's when I'll take the profit. We have previous day high at 67.72 on ES. And then Asia low, I think Asia low is sitting right at that point, same point, 67.72. It's a long way down. Oh, government shutdown update. House members need to begin returning to Washington immediately. We will give a 36 hours formal and official notice. I wonder if this is one of those buy the rumor, sell the news kind of things. So the pump overnight was because of the rumors of the government shutdown being over. And now that they've made the announcement, now it's going to retrace. All right, so I'm watching NQ's reaction at this initial balance low and VWAP area. If we get a big bounce here and it shows that it's going to start bouncing back up, this would be a good level for it. So if it stays heavy, I'll stay in my short on ES. If it bounces here, I'll close my position. Still in it. NQ is making its way down to its initial balance low. My trade idea was on the 4-hour time frame. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I mean, I zoom out. I'm not sure what you're asking, but I do zoom out to the daily 4-hour, 1-hour. Just kind of get an idea of the bias and the trend for the day. That's where I mark off my levels, figure out which direction. Still watching NQ. It hasn't quite come down to its initial balance low. So I'm waiting for the reaction there. See what that looks like. So NQ is broken below its initial balance low. That's why I'm still holding this ES trade. Because if it's going to bounce here, I'll close it. So far, it's not. That could all change, though. Watching this 5-minute candle. Well, I'm on the 2-minute. Watching this 5-minute candle. Where are we going? Kind of hovering here, but still no signs of a bounce yet. No strong buy up. Nope. Still going to keep holding. And I'm not even taking profit at London low. If it keeps dumping, I'll just keep trailing my stop. Previous day high is the overnight high too. 67.71 perhaps. Let's see where this thing goes. Alijan, gold for me has been kind of tough to read lately. Because on the higher time frame, to me, it's kind of just been chopping around. Last night, it had a really good move up. So last night, that doesn't apply. Better movement in the last couple days. But all of this choppiness right here, that was hard for me to read. The open last night, though, that was beautiful. I did catch a long on it last night, just a small scalp. So good movement since last night and this morning. But this movement down here, that got me a little bit. Still coming down. Slow grind down continues. It's bouncing off London low in this support area here. The reason I haven't taken profit is just because I'm also watching NQ, and NQ has a little bit further down to go. So if we're going to get a bounce, it kind of doesn't make sense for NQ to bounce here. Although it could, because there's this chop action to the left. Still watching. Trailing my stop a little bit tighter. Let's see if we can squeeze out a little bit more. Still could see lower. Just don't know how much of a bounce it's going to get at this London low, because that's a pretty big level. Oh man, where are you going? What's it gonna do at ES? Coming for my stop loss. NQ is coming back up to retest this initial balance low and VWAP. If we reject there, that could be another spot, interesting spot for a short. Or if we reclaim that, we could see a lot more upside. I'm pretty sure that hit my stop loss on ES. Oh, not yet. Close. I don't trade to a specific risk to reward. I just trade to levels that I'm watching. But I do have just kind of a thing in my head where I don't like to take the trade unless it has at least a 2-to-1 risk to reward. But even that is lower than I would like. So this trade right here is like a 9-to-1, 10-to-1. Yeah, ES and NQ normally are pretty correlated. That's why I have them side by side and I'm watching them both. All right, there's my stop loss. Getting a pretty good bounce here. Interesting spot for NQ though. Like I said, we're right at initial balance low and VWAP. So if we're going to go down further, this could be the spot that we reject. Or if we reclaim it, that's pretty bullish. Yeah, not looking like NQ is going to reject this level. And ES had a really good bounce off of that London low. So we could see some more upside. Oh, maybe. Maybe rejecting. All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it a day on my trading, but this is a great spot for a short, in my opinion. Good risk to reward. I would put my stop loss up above that. And you can come down to London low, even just to there is over a 2-to-1, or even down to like previous day high. But yeah, there's just lots of confluence in this general area for me. But I think I'm going to call it a day. That was a good trade that I took. And going to go get some fresh air. I'll be in Discord off and on today. If you're not in the Discord, hop in there. And if you are getting a prop firm account, use code Krista. I would appreciate the support. And then join me tomorrow. We'll be back live again. Have a good one, you guys. Take care.